And good afternoon, everyone. We're cutting into programming right now as we're hearing from union leaders in the Buffalo Fire Department now that the city has released the name of the fallen firefighter, 37-year-old Jason Arno. Let's take you now to the union press conference.
Firefighters.org and at our Facebook page. So I can take some questions.
It's been over 10 years since Buffalo Fire Department experienced some kind of line of duty death. Can you explain or reflect on how this affects the Buffalo Fire Department family?
Well, first and foremost, it's obviously devastating to the members to lose one of their own in such a tragic way. As well, one of the points is that at this point we have the 2009 class was just starting when Lieutenant Chip McCarthy and firefighter Jonathan Kroom were lost. So we have had, since that time, over 10 classes. The vast majority of the department has never suffered this type of tragedy. And I think that it's just awful, and we're going to have to deal with it. And with coordination between ourselves and the city, we're going to be doing a lot of peer counseling and doing everything we can to serve all the members. With technology now, obviously there's a lot of video circulating, there's audio of the radio transmissions, and when members, whether they're on duty or not, hear those things, it's just awful, and see those things and know that, you know, it could be them. It's heavy burden.
Whether it was you or someone within the union, can you describe the type of person that firefighter Arno was and his commitment to 3 years with the department?
He was a well-liked firefighter. For myself, I met him numerous times and had the pleasure of working with him a few times. And I can just see his face, and it's just that smile. And he was always a great guy to be around. And obviously, he worked at Engine 21 for a period of time, and then I think he was on the rescue for a small bit, and then he ended up at Engine 2, which is one of our busiest, if not busiest, companies in the city. He obviously shows his dedication, and he wanted to be a part of and be in the action, and so he was an excellent person.
You know, a lot of people say, obviously we've learned that building was getting renovated. There weren't really people occupying, was it a large office building or whatnot. These firefighters, as well as Jason Arno, just went in there knowing that there could be someone in there. I mean, this is not a sense of they're looking at if the building is occupied or not. Every single day, and still to this day, this hour, they're just continuing to go into these buildings. Can you reflect on that, of the commitment?
Yes, I mean, the big thing is that our main goal is to put the fire out and save property and save lives. And there was no question that the members were going to go in. And in this situation, it was just rapid fire spread, and I don't think there was even an understanding. As well, building of that structure is not our usual fire. You know, we're used to fighting fires in residential homes, 2.5-story frames, and this is a large warehouse, 3-story, you know, commercial grade, and things just went south.
Vinny, can you, even though, as you said, you don't fully know everything that happened, but looking back, a lot of firefighters do die in collapses. From your perspective, is there anything for training or anything that can be done to try to help these firefighters sometimes cope in these situations, or know certain procedures, or is everything being done to the best of your knowledge that they can do?
Well, I believe that the standard operating procedure for this type of fire was followed, and that the members did everything that they were supposed to do, and the command staff was on scene rapidly and moving people around, and sometimes bad things just happen. And I'm not even certain that collapse was the cause here, so I can't speak to it.
What is the money being used for that people can donate to?
Just for the family, just because of the tragic loss and the suddenness of it and the unpreparedness. I mean, this is a young member on the department, new to the department, newly married, young child, and there's just, you know, even people who've been on the department a long time aren't always prepared for this immediate and sudden loss, even though it is part of our job. So we're just trying to raise some funds for the family and do anything we can to support our member, and that's why we're asking if, again, there's just been such an outpouring, so we just want to have a direct avenue for people to make donations, so there's no nothing other than that. That's why we're taking the donations.
What do you anticipate in terms of the memorial service? I mean, I heard you on the phone, it's still being planned.
Right.
But Do you anticipate, and also, if you could talk, you mentioned you're hearing from firefighters around the country, apparently.
Yes.
What has that been like? Who are you hearing from, and what do you expect we could see in some kind of memorial service for this fallen firefighter?
Well, obviously, we're working with the family, and we respect their wishes as far as how we're going to handle the services. In a case like this, the union, we are going to do the full line of duty death honors that this member should be afforded. One of the things is Buffalo is a large local in size compared with locals across the country. We're one of the big locals in the country. So obviously, when we have fallen firefighters in anywhere in the country passing, we have an opportunity, because we're a large local, to send our members to honor the fallen across the country. So obviously, when we have something happen tragically in our city, we'll have an outpouring of support, and I assume there's going to be firefighters, again, from all over the world and the country coming here to pay their respects to this firefighter and his family.
Do we have a date and location as of right now?
No idea yet.
You've mentioned the risk firefighters take every day. The Buffalo Fire slogan is "so others may live." Can you talk a little bit about what that means every day when they suit up and don't know what to expect going into their job?
Yes, the thing is with firefighting is part of the job, and part of what makes it a great job is that you never know what your day is going to bring. We show up for work. The members love this job. They love serving the citizens, and again, we don't know what we're coming up against. We don't know. And in this case, when they got on scene, there was nothing showing. So they didn't know until they got involved with it that it was going to be this dramatic of a fire. So, but every day the members are out there and putting their gear on and going on calls and doing everything they can to serve the citizens.
You kind of briefly touched on it, but so you don't have any like equipment or policy concerns about how this happened? You think it was just kind of like an accident or something very tragic?
I really, again, we really don't know, have any of the details yet, and so to speak on it is, it's too early to talk about it.
Do they share all that with you? Do they
well,
share the investigation?
Obviously, there'll be a full report done, and we'll be a part of it. And we've already been contacted by government agencies. Like, there'll be, because of the line of duty death, there'll be a full investigation, and I believe that'll all be public information, and information, since our members are going to be heavily involved with the investigation, that we're going to be privy to. So.
And just to
Who does
follow up
that?
on some,
That investigation, I'm sorry.
Well, I was contacted by PESH from New
Okay.
York State, and but I think there's other organizations as well. I know our International Association of Firefighters will want to be involved with it. There's many entities that want to make sure, what happened, what went wrong, what can we do right in the future to be preventative after the fact. So.
and just to follow up on something you mentioned earlier, is there a reason leading you to believe the collapse wasn't the cause of death?
Honestly, I don't know. Just because they were able to, once the fire was tenable and they could get into the structure and it was safe to do so, and collect the downed firefighter, he wasn't buried. So that, and again, I shouldn't even say that. That's to my knowledge. To my knowledge.
You mentioned how triggering these sounds and videos can be. I know we at Channel 7 are making the decision not to show certain videos as it is triggering to our community of who we serve. Things are being shared on social media. Do you have a message to the public? Firefighters are part of this community. Their spouses are, about sharing video of that backdraft that could affect some of the staff.
I think the thing is in today's society, and it's interesting to share that, because not only to the members, but I know just we did our own video for our ball this past year, and I know that it bothers my family when they see these fires and they see these horrific events that we are at over and over and over, and so the idea that that's just today's society, that videos are shown horrific things, and when people aren't connected to it and you can just press a button and share a video or watch a video that doesn't affect your life in any way, it's just where we are in society today. So
You mentioned that there's going to be some peer-to-peer counselling. Is there any other support for the firefighters that's being offered right now?
well, yeah, so it's nice we have coordination with the city. We have a union employee assistance program coordinator. The city has one, and they work in conjunction with each other, which is excellent. And we also are bringing in the International Association of Firefighters peer counseling team And we're gonna meet with all the firefighters tomorrow who are on duty, the first assignment companies, and they won't be on duty. And we'll meet with them tomorrow and start the debriefing process. And then, of course, because of the investigation that follows, there's just gonna be a lot of discussing and talking. And as a family, and that's really what we are here at 282, we pull together and we check up on each other and calling and talking and meeting out, and we do all the things that we need to do to make sure people are all right.
As
Union President Vincent Ventresca starting his comments there saying words cannot describe this tragedy and we are devastated. He's been taking questions. Right now, we're going to take you to the city news conference. Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown remarking about yesterday's deadly fire as well. Let's listen.
Grief counseling will be provided in a variety of different ways through the local 282 Employee Assistance Program, also through the City of Buffalo Employee Assistance Program. We will also be working with Best Self Behavioral Health to provide grief counseling to firefighters and first responders. Commissioner Ronaldo will also talk about time off that is being provided to certain members of the fire department to ensure that we are being as protective as possible during this very difficult situation. We ask that everyone please keep the Arno family, the Buffalo Fire Department, and all the first responders who put their lives at risk every day to protect public safety in your prayers. We will also be working with Local 282 to support the family's needs in any way that we possibly can during this time of tragedy. We have temporarily suspended the demolition of the remaining 745 Main Street structure that was begun yesterday. We also will be partnering with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The ATF came in and offered to partner with the city in the investigation. We certainly are very pleased to accept their support and resources. This is a standard thing that the ATF does in situations like that. And Buffalo Fire will be working in partnership with the ATF, with the Buffalo Police Department, as well as State Fire. And we will conduct a very thorough review of this situation, the causes of the fire, and how this situation unfolded. The City of Buffalo has secured the perimeter of the building on Main Street. We want to make sure that with a structure that is unstable as this one is, that we are keeping the public away from the structure, that we are keeping the public safe. We will have members of the Buffalo Police Department that will be out ensuring that people stay back from 745 Main Street. As you know, I have ordered city flags at half-staff across Buffalo in honor and in memory of firefighter Jason Arno. Now I will turn things over to Commissioner Ronaldo to provide you with more detail.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Mayor. Yes, once again, a very sad day. As the Mayor alluded to, him and I did visit with the families. So right now we're focused on the families and make sure all their needs are met, and we're wrapping our arms around them the way the Buffalo Fire Department does and we're used to doing, and we're going to make sure that that they're taken care of going forward. We also mentioned the grief counseling, the upcoming grief counseling for our members, and that is in place, and that's actually going to begin tomorrow with all the different agencies that the Mayor mentioned. Local 282's EAP, the city, our own city EAP, Best Self, and our own department chaplain, Father Sile, as well. So we do have a plan in place, and any of our firefighters who are in need of any time off or any grief counseling, further grief counseling, we have an administrative leave process, and they can avail themselves of that.
What do
Can you tell me, in some substance, why is the demolition being delayed? I was out there today and noticed it had started but stopped. What's going on?
Sure. Well, we initially began the demolition yesterday to get better access to hotspots, so the fire was not put out yet. So that was the initial plan. After that, the ATF came on board, along with our other agencies, State Fire, our own fire investigation unit, and we decided, okay, now we've had further access to the building, hotspots are put out, and now we're going to preserve the building for gathering of evidence.
So you need to still do some things before you.
Correct,
That's
yeah.
what you're saying. And you mentioned the ATF, now you said it's standard, but I've seen a lot of fires, and it may not be standard, at least in my view, it hasn't been standard. Is there something concerning alcohol, tobacco, firearms, or explosives involved in this fire?
No, not to our knowledge. ATF has assisted us on many occasions. Many occasions, may not be aware of. Sometimes they're in the background, and we may not know that they're assisting us, but they are. And they did reach out to us. City of Buffalo Fire Department is still the lead investigation, our own fire investigation unit, but they bring a lot of knowledge, expertise, equipment, and funding to the fight as well. So their assistance is very welcome.
Have you gotten any closer to determining what exactly caused the fire?
No, we were way too early in the investigation. But as I said, we have a number of agencies looking into it. Our own fire investigation unit, State Fire, and now we have the ATF on board as well. So the investigation is ongoing.
When was the evacuation ordered, before or after the collapse?
I said there was a Mayday issued by firefighter Arno, and that's when the evacuation began.
Is there a suspicion that there was some explosive elements in the fire?
No, there's no evidence of that at this point. But once again, the investigation is ongoing.
Can you help me understand, I know investigators are looking for video specifically of smoke and what color it was. You've been at this a long time. Can you shed some light on what that might tell you, the color of smoke?
Sure, yeah, and the color of smoke is a very good indicator. You know, light smoke versus dark smoke, and maybe give you an idea of what's burning. For instance, hydrocarbons, things of that nature will be darker smoke. And in this particular fire, it started out as light smoke, and when our firefighters entered the building, I know we talked about a backdraft and what that is all about, and a lot of times the fire and the smoke is hidden in different voids depending on the structure, the interior structure, especially when it's under renovation. So the superheated gas and the smoke may be contained, and in this particular situation, the firefighters, when they first entered the structure, it was actually pretty clear, but then it deteriorated very rapidly because they did introduce oxygen when they entered the building, and a backdraft is a very rare occurrence. It's very rare if you see firefighters on the roof ventilating a regular house fire, things like that. That's the purpose of it, to ventilate the superheated gases and smoke out of the building so that it doesn't occur.
So did the backdraft lead to the collapse, or how did that happen?
The collapse and the backdraft probably occurred almost simultaneously. We're not sure yet.
Commissioner, did they make a mistake in the way they attacked the fire to create a backdraft?
Not a lot. I mean, as I said, a backdraft is a very rare occurrence, and as I stated, the building was clear, and which is the case many times when we enter a structure like that. So it was safe to enter at the time, and the chief made that determination. So yes, no, I cannot say there were any mistakes made at that fire.
Would that situation have in any way led to the collapse that occurred?
Once again, we're not sure if the collapse occurred before or after the backdraft. The fire had been, indications are the fire had been burning for quite some time, so the collapse may have occurred.
Was Mr. Arno inside when the building collapsed, and that ultimately led to his death?
Firefighter Arno was inside. Yes, the crew of Engine 2 was inside, and he was covered with a certain amount of debris when he was retrieved.
You said that you met with the family. Can you give us a little bit of, background on who Jay Arno was?
Just a bright young man with everything in front of him. Just was married over the summer. Had a 3-year-old girl at home. His whole future in front of him. And, exemplar firefighter and employee. So just a great all-around person. No one ever had anything negative to say about firefighter Arno.
If I can comment on that too. As I mentioned, the family, when Commissioner Rinaldo and I got there, the family was very warm. They were very welcoming. Firefighter Arno's siblings were there. His mom, his dad were there. Extended family members were there, friends were there. They certainly were leaning on each other. They were showing great support for each other, and at the same time they were very warm and friendly toward us, even in the face of the pain and tragedy that they were dealing with. You could see that they were really good people, really a caring family, and they spoke very warmly about Jason Arno, their family member, their love for him. This is definitely a very, very difficult time for the family, for our Buffalo Fire Department, the City of Buffalo, and our extended family throughout Western New York.
Commissioner Ronaldo, how are the other members of Engine 2 doing? I can only imagine how devastating that has to be and the impact that takes on someone's mental health. Do we know how other members of this crew are doing today?
Well, yes. Well, actually, myself and my deputies visited Engine 2 yesterday, and we did speak to the crew that was at the scene of the fire, as well as the other. We have 4 platoons, so the other members of Engine 2 on the other 3 platoons. Many of them were there as well, and yeah, as you can imagine, they're very distraught, very distraught. But we have a mission. Buffalo Fire Department has a mission to protect the lives and property of the cities of Buffalo, citizens of the city of Buffalo. Right, and we do that, but a lot of times we lose sight of the people who are performing that mission, and they're made of flesh and blood, obviously, and that's something we have to remember. We also have to remember that the families sign on as well, so that's another reason why we're focusing on the health of the family, the Arno family.
How do you and the family perhaps want Mr. Arno to be remembered? What do you want the community to know about him?
We want him to be remembered for what he was. He was a hero. He's a brave, committed firefighter. He went into this job with his eyes wide open to serve the citizens of Buffalo, and he's to be commended for that, and he's going to be honored for that.
If I could. As Commissioner Ronaldo said, firefighter Arno was a hero, and we want the community to know that certainly with our firefighters, every day they put on that uniform and respond to a call, they are putting their lives on the line. They don't necessarily know what they're going to find, what they're going to get into when they get there, but when the call comes in, they go. They respond, and they want to do a good job for the community. So he was a hero. We want the community to remember him in that way.
To that point, Commissioner, to your point about the mission, if there was a fire call today, these guys and women would be out there in a heartbeat fighting that fire, even with everything that happened yesterday. What do you say to that?
Exactly. I mean, and just it's a tribute to all the men and women that put this uniform on and report for work every day. Yes, I mean, we're on job 24/7, and one incident after another, and as the mayor alluded to, every incident is different. Some are more serious than others, but obviously they're ready. We're trained and ready, and we respond accordingly.
Just to follow up somewhat on your question, just to be clear, is Engine 2 in service?
They're presently out of service.
So those firefighters?
Those firefighters are out of service right now.
Out of service.
Yes.
Commissioner, any history of that building, citations or issues that they were working on that could have led to this, or set up a dangerous situation?
I don't have any first-hand knowledge of that at this point, but that's being looked at, I'm sure.
As rare as you say a backdraft, and I think you explained what it was, I think we know, but and how dangerous that is. Is there any defense against that, other than you just hope it doesn't happen, or try not to create a situation that could?
Yeah.
Or does it happen so fast that you really, there's no...
Well, it's a rare occurrence, as I said, but there is a defense against it. Once again, the color of smoke is a good indicator that it could be a possible backdraft or a flashover, and some other violent occurrence during the fire. So it's controlled ventilation is our best defense against that, which means opening windows, horizontal ventilation, and vertical ventilation is very important.
But it doesn't give you a 5-second warning or anything, right? I mean, there's no, if it happens, I guess they're trained to do something, maybe duck and cover, but is there often time to even do that?
No, if it happens, it's going to happen very, very quickly. But our chiefs, our senior level leaders are, very experienced in recognizing the signs of a backdraft or a flashover or anything of that nature, and they act accordingly.
Sorry, but could the types of businesses that were in this building contributed to how bad this fire was? Because I believe there was not only the costume company, but right next to it, a hair salon and a waxing salon. I imagine that's just a lot of fuel for a fire.
Yeah, I mean, a heavy fuel load definitely will contribute to a fire. You know, the size of the fire and the intensity of the fire. And from what I understand, there was quite a lot of material in that structure. As far as other flammable materials, we don't know at this point, but there was a heavy fuel load in that structure, yes.
There's a lot of moving parts right now. Have you heard anything about service for firefighter Arno at this time?
We're working with Local 282 right now. And we're looking at, right now it looks like it may be sometime next week, maybe later next week. But we're working with the family to see what their needs are and what they would like to see. And we're going to make sure we meet those needs.
And I imagine he'll get full honors from the city as well.
Of course.
In terms of engine 2.
You know, if I just could, there's been an outpouring, a tremendous outpouring of support and prayers throughout the community. Want to thank the many people who have reached out to the fire department, to the city. Certainly have heard from a lot of different elected officials. Governor Hochul has called, County Executive Poloncarz, Senator Tim Kennedy, Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes, and many others. So we really appreciate the prayers, the support, very much needed for the family and for firefighter Arno's colleagues on the fire department right now.
In terms of engine 2 being out, what does the coverage plan look like for the city of Buffalo? And can you talk a little bit about the other engines and how they're doing? Because this, impacted directly engine 2, but, as you've alluded to, it impacts the entire department.
Sure. And I'll answer the first part of your question first. Yeah, we have a redundant system, which means if a company or a number of companies are out of service for any length of time, we have coverage throughout the city, so that's really not an issue. Second part of your question was again?
Just how are the other engines, how are the other parts of the department coming together to help cover and B, how are they feeling right now?
Oh, everyone's, we're having a lot of volunteers that want to come to work, that want to, help out the folks that were on their first assignment. I mentioned the grief counseling that's going to actually begin tomorrow, and yeah, that's a big part. That's a big part of it. So we're going to have people called in on overtime to backfill the folks that are having issues. And once again, we have the administrative leave at our disposal, and we'll take care of our folks that way.
And of course, that's the local support, but what have you heard from other fire departments, across the state? Obviously, this is rare, but this is something that happens on the job.
Yes, I've had a number of colleagues across the state reach out to me, other fire departments. So yes, and wanting to know when the services are, things like that, how they can help right now. As the mayor said, a lot of local Wegmans, I can go on and on as far as different restaurants and different companies and private concerns too, private citizens as well, who have called and tried to contact the department and see how they can help in any way, whether it's donating money, food, or anything else.
Where are you going to refer those donations?
We're going to refer all those donations back to Local 282. We're going to have, actually they have a website, and it's going to be in care of Local 282, Buffalo Professional Firefighters, in care of the Sarah Arno family. So
I know this might not be something you can answer right now, but is there any idea of how long Engine 2 will be given off work to recover from
sure,
this?
it's going to be on an individual basis. We had a number of serious incidents, leading up to this, which is the most tragic incident, obviously. But we have a number of incidents towards the end of last year, leading into this year, and we've had people off for anywhere from 1 tour to 2 tours, 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So whatever it takes to make our folks feel comfortable to come back, and they're mentally healthy, and they're trained and ready to come back.
Are we okay?
It's like planning on the Main Street, that part of it should be closed indefinitely until the demolition's done.
Yes, and we're actually looking at put some fencing up to assist the Buffalo PD in securing that scene. So it will be a while yet.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
All right, we've been sharing comments there from Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown and the Police Commissioner Ronaldo as well. Before that, we heard from the union president. Want to just share some of the remarks. The commissioner calling the fallen firefighter, 37-year-old Jason Arno, an exemplary firefighter, said his whole future was ahead of him. The mayor said, quote, he was a hero, and talked about how the community is really wrapping its arms around the family right now. And the union president saying words cannot describe this tragedy and we are devastated. We learned that there will be a memorial service with full honors for this fallen firefighter, and they are focused on the family. We learned, and we had heard some of this yesterday, that Jason Arno was just married over the summer, had a young child as well. And again, the commissioner saying his whole future was ahead of them. Of course, his family is devastated. The mayor and the fire commissioner met with the family yesterday. And in terms of that memorial service, so we expect that there will be firefighters from all over the country who will come here to Western New York. In addition to focusing on the family, they're also focused right now on Engine 2, which is out of service. That was the engine to which he was assigned, and Engine 2 right now is out of service. There are grief counselors available and a lot of resources being pulled in there. We also learned about what's happening at the site. They have stopped the demolition right now so that they can investigate ATF part of that as well. So a lot of information coming out there, a lot to unpack. We'll continue to cover this breaking story throughout the day. We'll be back on the air at 4 o'clock for Most Buffalo, but right now we're going to leave you with what a lot of Western New Yorkers are doing right now, which is remembering firefighter Jason Arno as we learned his identity today and as Western New York is honored.